14K.
14,000 people who registered for this loan, and apparently the team, it was, from what it looks like online, is less than
Hmm.
10 people. So it's fair to say that they're swamped. It's a new
Hmm.
loan, it's a new practice, it's a new
It's a
segment.
whole new regime.
Exactly. So they're probably super swamped. So to the people in the mix of it, listen, to people in Face, shout out to y'all, man. I hope y'all are y'all have their work cut out for you, for sure, for sure.
Hmm.
Hello and welcome to the Hustle Over Everything podcast. This is the podcast where we receive stories, tips, and strategies from entrepreneurs who have done it. Today, we have a one-on-one episode for you where we dive deeper into a specific topic and really just do research for you and provide value. So I'm excited. But first, Owen, what's good with you, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. We're capping off a long weekend. I just finished the third day today, but one of my favorite weekends ever, man. Caravana. I didn't get to. I didn't go. Caravana's not here because of Corona. Like the Rona's robbed us, but I got to go out for the first time, bro. I went to a party, it was a little carnival event, for the community. It just felt so freeing being out and being out around other people and dancing and having bottle service, bro. It's been a year and a half since I've had bottle service. I've been making drinks here, I'll make you beverages when you come through, but just being around some people, being around like our culture, it just felt like family, bro. And I just remember being on the dance floor and dancing and just feeling my body move, bro. Like I'll
Catch
never
a
take
bubble?
one, two here and there,
You got a little one too?
a little
Okay,
one, two,
okay.
But everyone was still wearing masks. A lot of people were wearing masks. Some people were not wearing masks. So, but even just being out there, bro, like I had a strong appreciation for freedom. Like the little
Facts.
things about dancing, having a drink, being able to like move around the dance floor with like your hands up, like with a drink in your cup, bro. It's a blessing. So whenever you have a chance to dance and move your body and get out and actually go to a venue and actually have fun, don't take it for granted, man, because you never know another pandemic. You never know, something can happen. I don't want to be dark, but something can happen where you cannot have that ability anymore. But I appreciated every single second of it. And this has been one of my most favorite weekends ever just because I let loose, met up with some people and caught up and had a vibe, bro. Had a vibe, man. What about you?
Man, this week and it was great for me. It was Soca or Die. This is my first time going to a fete in like 10 years.
Fat,
So,
fat.
yeah, man.
What's a fet app, bro? Tell us what a fet is for the people who
For the
don't know.
people, for the people who don't know, for the ones people in the back who don't know, a fete is essentially it's like a jam. It's a party where they're playing soca all day and all night predominantly. So yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun just listening to soca, family, you know what I'm saying, all that type of
One
stuff.
of them
It was,
ones.
one of them ones. It was good. A lot of people were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, COVID has done something that's been amazing where people have had so much distance from each other for so long that even though they see people you're like, I'm good. I don't even gotta talk to you. And I love that. I don't want to talk to you either. You know what I'm saying? Let's just stick to ourselves. We can greet each other like a head nod from far away and keep it moving.
Keep it moving,
I'm
man.
I'm perfectly happy with that. Shout out to the Adventist has seen rocking.
Bro, you know what's crazy about seeing someone, like the other week I saw one of my high school basketball teammates. We never spoke much. Like he was like one of the like guys who's just on the squad. And it's funny because he unfollowed me on IG. I was like, oh, like damn, bro, you actually unfollowed me on IG. Like we won championships together. Like, we went to battle together. We like were bodying each other on practice. Like, when you win a championship with someone, the relationship you form, it's lifelong. It's like till we're 80. Hey, you remember what that championship we won in high school? So I see bro here like walking on Lower Jarvis, and I'm like, man, I know that gait, I know that walk. I've seen that walk many of times. And I'm like, man, like this guy looks familiar. I look closer. He looks at me. I look at him. I know it's bro from high school. I'm like, yo. But the thing is, we pretended we didn't know each other because I think he was on a mission. I was on a mission. And I think he knew like, oh, yo, I unfollowed you, bro. Like, it's like, it's unspoken. And I just kept it
Okay.
rocking. I just kept it rocking. He kept it rocking. And It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Like, it
Does
just felt so,
unfollowing mean that much?
bro. Honestly, I don't even care about him unfollowing me. Like, I just like realized, I was like, man, like I wonder what Oz is saying, right? So I like
Hmm.
I looked him up and everything, and then yeah, I realized bro was not following me. I realized bro was not following me, and I don't care about followers or anything, but it's
No,
just like
it does mean something though.
it
It
does
does
mean
mean something.
something, especially if this is not like a girl you just chopped up and then things didn't work out, then she like unfollows you. Like this is broski from way back. You
Hmm.
guys like were hooping every single day together. Like you stayed in the same hotels, you traveled and everything, and just to not be able just to like the love that was not there on the street. I was like, man, this is a different type of energy. Like, cause usually you know me, man. I see someone, I'm like, hey, 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 whatever. But this time I was just like, like whatever. You know what I mean? I just didn't want
You
to.
have to
And
go.
maybe because I had work and I was just grabbing lunch from Loblaws, that I just didn't feel compelled to go and chop them up.
I feel you. I feel you. But man, with that being said, man, let's hop into the real hot button issue that we're getting into this week.
Exactly. Yes.
We're here to talk about the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund that's going on. There's been a lot of hype around it. To give you the backstory, first things first, with the George Floyd situation happening, there was a cataclysmic effect. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I remember when we interviewed Mandela, she said that she had never seen this much money being poured into black businesses
Mm-hmm.
as she ever seen in her life. So, this is one of those things that has been an effect of that.
Mm-hmm.
Trudeau said that he was pledging 290 plus $1 million into the black community with this black entrepreneurship ecosystem fund that he's doing. So, and I definitely suggest we'll link it in the description to go check out all the different parts of this program that they're doing to create something holistic, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is amazing. But before we even get to that, I think we should probably dive a little bit deeper into um, you know loans overall and
Mm-hmm.
the history of loans in the black community, because this is something that has been plaguing us for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a big issue, especially it's like a two-pronged thing, because with the real estate and with loans, it's like a two-pronged thing. So a lot of people can't get real estate, so they're renting, and
Yeah.
then they want to get a loan to grow their business, but they don't have property to have as collateral.
Yeah. Um, definitely like it's huge. It's definitely huge when that happens, and we do have a long history of being played with such environments. When we go back into the early days after we're coming out from like that, that the whole redlining system, even finding a home, there was a lot of segregation. So when you're looking for a loan and you're looking to build up your business, and the banker is looking at you and you're like, hey, we don't really give loans to people who look like you. You're not coming out from a neighborhood which actually has people who can actually, like it's not like known as a flourishing neighborhood. So you're having a lot of barriers that coming in when you're looking to apply for a loan. And this historically has been within us everywhere we've been at. So let's get into it.
So I have a question for you. What's the best email marketing platform for creators? It's ConvertKit. It combines powerful automation with an easy to use interface. The heart of their business is their visual automation tool that allows you to deliver the right message to your audience at the right time. They have pre-built landing pages and forums, so creating and sending out copy is extremely easy. I personally use it with my business when I'm doing webinars. And you can use it too. Right now, we have an exclusive offer for you. ConvertKit is giving you a freemium membership with full access to the landing pages, forums, and email marketing for free, up to 1,000 subscribers. They are one of the only platforms that allows you to add your Facebook pixel to it for free. It allows you to create automation, and it allows you to get the ball rolling with your business. And of course, it integrates with Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, Gumroad, and a ton of other platforms. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit the podcast description and click the link there to get you to this freemium account. It's an amazing service, so make sure you try it out, guys. Let me know how it goes for you. I want to know. All right, let's get into the show. So to get into it, what is the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund? Who is running it? And
Mm-hmm.
let's just jump into like the loan itself. right?
Mm-hmm.
So the people who are running it is the Face Coalition, right?
The Face
The
Coalition.
Face Coalition. Face stands for the Federation of African Canadian Economics, which is a pretty solid acronym, I can't lie. And
Face.
yeah,
It
and
rolls out the tongue well.
rolls off the tongue well, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
it's made up of 5 predominant black business support organizations. And I don't want to read through them off. We link them down below, so you can go through that. Um, but it's a group of people, black people, who are in charge of organizing this whole thing. And one of the main gripes when it comes to this is the transparency around this. We've dug deep and been able to find some data that we can share with you guys to really give you
Mm-hmm.
some more transparency. So we're gonna dive into it. But before we get into that, let's talk about loans, and let's talk about the
Let's
pros and
talk about them, man.
cons of having a loan. So, Owen, like, what are some of the pros that you see when it comes to loans? I know you're very anti-loan, so I thought it'd be interesting to get your pros on it, and you can flip it up, and you do the pros, I do the cons.
So when I look at loans, man, and first of all, loans in general, just I hate them. I Even if it's a personal loan, I hate getting a loan because it's debt.
Mm-hmm.
It's debt that you have interest to pay on. Of course, there's like a time, like when uh, you got to pay on this, like you have like a 5-year period to pay it. I mean, typically business loans are pretty high, but my gripe with getting a loan as a business, I want to first start off by saying this: as a new entrepreneur, getting a loan as a first option of financing is a horrible idea, especially if you are a first time entrepreneur. And you really have to look at it like from this perspective. When you're an entrepreneur and you're coming in to build your first business, let's say this is removing like the Zuckerbergs, the Evan Spiegels, the people who built an app and like they've or some sort of like tech platform and it just immediately took off. Those are unicorns. But the type of business people we're talking about here are people who are in the service space, who are needing to like build out a restaurant. They're looking to at like create some sort of service or product that they want to build, they want to bring out to the world, and they're so engulfed in this vision that they believe it's going to be a success. The odds of you hitting a success from day one and building an amazing business, if I were to say out of 100 entrepreneurs, you probably have 3 or 4 who are going to do that. There is a high chance, if you've never built a business before and you're coming into this, there's a high chance there's going to be a lot of learning curves you're going to go through to really get to where you're at. So now you're asking yourself, you don't even have a proved business model yet, or you might have a proved business model, but you don't have enough sales to even prove why you should get a loan. So, Al, does it make sense as a new entrepreneur to go get a loan and then put that in your business and then expect for it to be a success? Because we know the entrepreneurship game, it's not an easy path towards like getting your first W. There's a lot of ups and downs that you gotta go through. So me thinking about these new entrepreneurs applying for loans, I feel so scared for them because I've seen not only me, but the smartest people I know who've built businesses from the first run have a horrible ending to it when they took a loan and now they have to pay that loan back. I'll give a quick example. When I was building Sneaker Deck in the fashion zone, there was a startup called House of Anisi. My great friends of mine, like, love them to death. They did an amazing job with building this bra that allowed women to have a bra that fluctuates in size during like their period of the month, and once the period is over, they your breast reduces and the bra fits your cup size. So
Bosom.
what this means, your bosom, right? So which means is like you can't have like this wire that's like tangling on your breast. It's causing you to have like all this like marks. It's a comfortable bra. They did this Kickstarter. They did at least over $105,000 in Kickstarter, but that wasn't enough money to finance their orders. So they went to BDC and got a loan, and I believe it was about 45 to 50K between all three of them. So this is a business that hasn't launched yet, but they've done an amazing job of PR to really push it out. but now they're getting a loan to really finance it. So now, even though you have like this customers, so now once you finance the loan, once you finance the product, what more are you going to do to really get more customers to pay that loan back? So now you're like in this predicament where you've paid all that money to finance your orders. Now you start from ground zero, and now your business is minus $50,000, right? It doesn't make sense. And that was like a major, major mistake they made. So going back to pros and cons of getting a loan, I already gave you a story just to get you warmed up. But first of all, when you do get a loan, you're not entitled, the banks or whoever gives you a loan are not entitled to your profits. They just want the money back. They want you to pay it back. They're going to bank on you, like maybe, maybe missing a payment. They're going to want like that interest. They're in the business of profiting off that loan. Business loans have like typically like a quasi low interest rate, so it's not too bad. The third thing is the interest is deductible to your taxes. So these are several great factors that go into having a business loan. It's easy, it's convenient. If you actually have a good credit score and you have a fledgling business, let's say you're a restaurant and you're like, you know what, getting this 50 to 100K loan to bring on a new employee will really help me achieve these benchmarks. That's great because you can actually have predictable business revenue and you can actually justify a loan. These are the businesses that should be getting loans to start off with. People who are established, they have a proven track record, they have a business that has proven its success over a certain period of time, and they know they can actually come back with this loan, and they should not have a hard time paying it back. So what are the cons of actually getting a loan? First and foremost, you're gonna owe that money back plus interest, right? With equity, you can actually you can give a piece of your business away, but you don't have to pay that money back. You have to pay that money back. You have to do it, but this is not a must. With a loan, you must pay it back at all costs. So you have to succeed by any means necessary. So think of yourself as a new entrepreneur. Do you really want to put that pressure on yourself when there are other options such as getting a grant that you have to pay this 50 grand back when you've never built a business before? That's a very heavy decision to go. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but think about that decision hard before you're actually jumping that loop to go and do it. Second thing, lengthy review of your business from the bank. The bank is going to want to see everything from you. The banks don't play around. They're going to look at your structure. They're going to look at you. They're going to look at everything even as soon as you enter the door. They're looking at how you dress, how you presenting yourself. What's your business plan? What's your history? What's the liquidity that you have in your business? Do you have any investors? Do you have anything within it that would actually make them believe that you can actually pay this loan back? So this is a process that it's not just you go in there, you get your loan. They're going to do their homework on you. And you, with someone who's coming in with no prior business experience, let's say this is your first time getting a loan, this is what you have to be ready to do. Your credit rating is extremely important. If you show up with a low credit rating, they're going to believe, you know what, if you can't even pay off your credit cards on time, why should we think you can pay off your loan on time? So having a credit score is an extremely, extremely important factor in getting your loan, right? It reflects on your credit worthiness and your ability to repay it back. Another thing, psychologically, this is just a personal one. It's a cloud over your head. You're walking around, your pressure to build this business and start it off, but then you also have to worry about a loan that you just took out. Why have two double pressures on you when you have a business to make successful? Then you got to pay the loan back when you haven't even proven your business model as a new entrepreneur. Doesn't really make sense. Next thing, they're difficult to obtain. Of course they are. These are the banks they're dealing with. They need to know who they're giving their money to. Another thing too, the rates fluctuate with how the market is doing. So depending how the market is doing in general, it's going to determine your interest rate. So if you're looking at a market like where, hey, it's not favorable right now, like in the market, the rates are going to reflect on the loan you get. So timing of the loan is extremely important as well. Next thing, you're coming in as a young entrepreneur, you want to get your business started, you need collateral. The bank is going to want to know, what assets do you own if you cannot make the payment on this loan? Do you have a car? What kind of car is it? What year is it? What's the mileage on it? What's the value of that? Do you have a house? Do you have whatever it is that you have? They want to know. So in case you miss the payment, we can actually go and possess these items of yours to cover that loan of yours. So these are the pros and cons of having a loan, bro. What do you think? What stood out to you in that pros and cons list? And what's your view on getting a loan as a new entrepreneur?
As a new entrepreneur, honestly, I try to avoid a risk. To be honest with you, I like to calculate all of my risk. So when I hear of stuff like that, I'm like, all right, let me stray away from this. To be honest with you, some of the things that really stood out to me was collateral. That's huge. I definitely don't want any type of collateral when it comes to getting money that I have to pay back. So that's why I'm big on grants, or just bootstrapping myself. Things though that I think we also get misconstrued is that and when people invest in a company, that also is debt. That is also debt. People want their money back. Right, and there's also people who want to invest in their company and be predators and want to take that company over sometimes. If you're not doing a good job as a CEO, they're like, hey, all right, listen, we're going to turn this into a convertible note and we're going to replace you with somebody else, and you lost your business. Right, so there's things you got to take into consideration when it comes to getting money from either a bank or an investor, from either side. So yeah, bro, I like the bootstrap route personally. It's a big challenge though to raise money or to find the funds, or to have a successful Kickstarter. So it's a struggle, And the thing is too, if you are someone who has a proven track record, who knows how they're gonna market to their customers to get back that money to pay the bank back, then all right, a loan's for you. You should be able to leverage that loan and execute on that and get that money back and grow your business. Point blank, period. And that's why banks or companies like Clearco are thriving right now, because there's a lot of people in that stage that don't get access to the funds. You know what I'm saying? So for that purpose, I think there's a lot of people who are in that stage that can use that cash incentive to get to next level, but they're just not getting it. So if that's you, we're gonna dive deep into this loan, so you can make a educated, move with your dollars. So,
and also I was gonna say, man, you can actually see why someone would want to get a loan, because if you've bootstrapped enough to where you're like, man, I need to legit increase the capacity to really grow this business. Imagine if you have a fashion business, you understand the more money you have, the more units you can move and the bigger margins that you have, and you can actually make a better profit. But if I've bootstrapped like a clothing business. There's a limit to how high you can rise. You'll need you'll need some cash to help you out. But the thing about these things is, like, if your business is not really a need, if it's like a lifestyle business, the risk of getting that loan is like so it's like you have a huge decision to make. So I mean, I see the mentality of what a loan people can gravitate towards it, because they're like, hey, we've sold this many units, we just need to increase our inventory and be able to sell this inventory. But then it's not a guarantee the inventory is going to move, right? So this comes back to you being an entrepreneur, you actually judging your business and saying, hey, we can sell this merch and increase our revenue, increase our profit, and be able to pay this loan back. It's at your discretion, but the risk is extremely high when you do that.
exactly. So let's dive into the details of this loan. To start off, when you go to the website, there's a lot of information, but none really states the details of it. To start off, the minimum amount you can get is $10,000, and for the micro loan, it goes up to $25,000. Right. After that, they go from $25,000 to $250,000, and these are called like the face loans, so like the main loan. And this loan is partnered with the BDC, the same loan we were talking about earlier. And for your business, the max you can get is 250K. But if you have multiple businesses, you can actually go up to a million, but by having 4 businesses and having 250,000 times 4, of course. So that's that on that. Well, a few things that people were wondering is like, all right, if I have a good credit score or a bad credit score, how does that affect me? Apparently, they take your credit score into account, but that's not the only thing they focus on in your analysis. The time frame of this loan is approximately 5 years.
Do they share the interest rate on it?
They do. I found the interest rate. The interest rate of the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund is 6%.
Okay.
And the interest, you can actually opt to only pay the interest for 18 months, but I don't know if you want to do that. The responding time for when you apply is usually 4 to 6 weeks, which from what it sounds like, sounds pretty long. But one thing I definitely want to highlight is that there was 14,000 people who registered.
14K.
14,000 people who registered for this loan. And apparently the team, it was, from what it looks like online, is less than 10 people. So it's fair to say that they're swamped. It's a new loan, it's a new practice, it's a new segment.
It's a whole new regime.
Exactly. So they're probably super swamped. So to the people in the mix of it, listen, to people in Face, shout out to y'all, man. I hope y'all have their work cut out for you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when we are part of like the Black community, the Black Toronto community, and you had a post in there, right? You posted, "Hey, has anyone received this loan?" What are some of the responses you got?
Oh, that's a great question, man. Let me pull that up for you. As I do that, I'll continue reading on. One thing that I noticed as well is that there's currently only 2 people for Ontario, and most of the people that are there are in Ontario. Most people that are registering are in Ontario, so it's like it's tough, and people got to be bilingual, so it's definitely a tough situation. All right, so I think I got it here. There's 21 comments on this post. I just asked people's experience with it. One of the things they want to know is interest rate, 6%. They want to know, is it still open? I found some information on this as well. So apparently it's a continuous open loan, which actually kind of raised my sketch meters a bit, because everything else was a closed window. Like if you notice the grant, it was like open, close, real quick, right? Super quick. Like barely anybody knew about it. But this loan, of course, is consistent. And I was like,
And like from the financing aspect of it, who in particular is financing this $200 million fund?
It's a series of banks, but for this specific loan, from what they're saying in the YouTube video, I'll link the YouTube video in the description. They're saying that they're partnering with the BDC.
Yeah, I remember BDC back in the day. They used to be Futurepreneur. They were targeting actually a younger market, but they stopped doing the whole Futurepreneur thing. And I remember I was one of those people who was actually close to getting a loan at the time. And I was like the perfect person, because at the time, that was when I was running my first business, Recruits Clothing. I had low inventory, but I had, high demand for certain things. And I wanted to expand into cut and sew and actually make proper merchandise. And I remember I sat on the decision before actually going with the loan. And I sat on it for about 2 weeks. I was like, hey, this is about 20,000 I was going to apply for, a 20K loan, so I can actually expand my production to have more units so I can actually have more profit margin. The thing about like when you have small runs is you're stifling the cash over and over. You think of yourself as a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You have 50 pieces of sweaters. You make each sweater for about, let's say, $20, depending on the type of blank you have. You sell that sweater for $30. You get that $30 back. Now you have the profit. Now you got to take that. Now you can increase your capacity to maybe make 70 more pieces of something. So it's like this whole thing of like filling up your water with a bucket. So you take water, you put it down. Then you look at the whole pool and you haven't even made a dent at all. So you're like trying to fill up your pool, but you're having this little bucket to do it. So by the time you're done filling up your pool with this process, it's like it can take you years by doing that. And think about it from a metaphorical perspective of a business. So this is the cycle everybody's going through. And what I want to ask you is, understanding the capacities of a loan, do you feel like with the history of the black community that has happened over the years, do you feel a loan was the right way to go on about it, especially after a tragic event of George Floyd? Do you like that they did that, or do you feel like they should have gone a different route to fund businesses, but perhaps not a loan such as this?
I feel like for the people that it fits, it fits. As long as they're not being predators on the people that are just getting started and don't have the experience to actually pay back these loans by putting them in predicaments to take things from them through collateral, then I think it can be a benefit. Overall, I think this is something that can actually benefit people if they're prepared for it. If they have the actual skills, the sales skills, the hard skills, they can actually build a solid e-commerce store. They actually know how to sell the things online or in person. Then they can have the means to pay it back and move forward with their business, right? If they don't have those means and are getting these loans, then it becomes predatory. So I just pray that that's what this is predominantly, and from what it looks like, from watching the YouTube videos and looking at the team and looking at people involved, they're all black, they're all motivated to help and forward the notion of black entrepreneurship. So I align with that. You get me? So as long as those businesses that they're choosing align with that too, then I think then it's a good thing personally. And I think that they can partner with more. There's more opportunities here. Like listening to the guy on their YouTube channel, and he was saying that they're partnering with businesses and accountants to figure out the value of people's businesses and do their taxes. And I'm like, okay, cool, you do the taxes, but how are they actually growing the business? Marketing is such a big aspect right now, and there's still a big gap in growing your business online. And I don't think enough black entrepreneurs really know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I think even HubSpot being a partner, right? HubSpot has critical skills that they can teach people. We've been taught by them, and learned a lot. So, for instance, does everybody know what a CRM is and how to properly use it to grow their business? HubSpot can teach those people and have actual classes to teach people, and maybe have their black associates and employees they can partner with to teach people to have the knowledge go through the lens that can fit black people, So I'm like, there's opportunities here that don't feel like they're being leveraged yet. So that's why I think I'm somewhat critical of it, but I still think it's overall a good thing because it's giving more opportunities to people of color, to black people in Canada. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. So from what it sounds, man, it's like you feel like there's a bigger gap than just filling it with money.
Exactly. There's a bigger gap than just money. Cause what's the money habits? You know what I'm saying? If I get $10 and I'm used to spending $9 on shoes, then when I get $100, I'm gonna spend $90 on shoes. You know what I'm saying? So it's making sure that those habits are there, from their business proposals, to their their habits. And if not, then do they just get denied, or do they get ghosted? Because what it looks like is that people are getting ghosted and that they're not getting responded to. And instead of people getting responded to, then could there be a funnel that they put people through to actually get them to an educated standpoint? It doesn't feel like that's there, from my understanding. So that's why I think there's an opportunity that's not being leveraged. 14,000 entrepreneurs in Canada, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot, especially black business entrepreneurs. That's like, because when you look at the population of Canada, what's the population? Because I know population is 30 million, about 30 million people in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the black population. I don't have the statistic for it right now, but it's really, really, really small, extremely small. So you have 14,000 business owners
There's a
across
million
the country.
black people in Canada.
A million out of 30 million.
Yeah, 1.1 million. According to the census of 2011, there's 950,665 black Canadians were counted and make up 2.9% of Canada's population. So,
Insane.
yeah,
Insane.
yeah.
So you're telling me you take out the kids, the children who are like in primary school, you take away the high school kids, you take away the elderly, then you have like a segment of like, let's say 25 to 50 people. Not every one of those is a business owner. So now you have allowed, give or take, 300 business slash aspiring business owners. Then you have like a part of that group of 300 is a 14K give or take, who've actually taken the leap to actually, because part of like 300K could be us. We haven't applied for it, right? So think about like how much people have gravitated towards it,
It's a lot.
and it's been a year and a half, and nothing has happened. Granted, 200 million to disperse it to entrepreneurs, it takes a long time, especially as a new program where you have a new group, a new regime, and you have to qualify, who's gonna get this thing. What I want to ask you, man, is knowing the movement of youth entrepreneurship, right? What can they do to really make sure that the youth are not really getting themselves in a situation where taking on a loan is can be detrimental towards their financial future? Because once your business fails, it's like now you're taking on that loan as well. You got to pay it back. So what I want to know is like, and you might not have the answer now, but like, let's just talk about it. The youth people who are going to be growing, they're going to be the future of the Canadian economy. What do you think about them, like actually now being given a loan as a thing to do that?
Man, I don't know, dog. To be honest with you, anything I'll be saying would be pontificating, making it up off the spot. You know what I'm saying? As long as they don't start rapping, you know what I'm saying. I think we're gonna be a little bit better.
As long as they're doing productive ends, they're going towards productive means.
Yeah,
That's all that matters.
facts, bro. Like as long as I'm not saying like I'm not shitting on rappers. You know what I'm saying? But there's
But
definitely.
I'm not a rapper.
But I'm not a rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Glasses, jacket, shirt.
Boom. But
Call me glasses, jacket, shirt, man.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? But I was gonna say, yeah, it's just like as long as they're being used like effectively, you know what I'm saying, being like, fostering the right ideas out of them personally. That's the only thing I could come up with off the top that would really help them. As long as they're fostering the proper ideas and getting them to the point where they want to launch something that can really empower the people around them, then I think we're on the right path. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I know the thing is with these like one thing you mentioned was education. I know we do there are so many things that provide these education. I just feel like, what we need to do more of as a community, I think it's just like a change in culture, right? Like taking on these opportunities and actually learning and actually taking on as like a way of life. So it starts with us, man. As we always bring it back, it starts with us. It starts with people like us who are gonna have families one day, where we actually have to shift the paradigms to get our kids to think about business, math, science, because as much as there are these programs, there's so much history of, not really thinking business first. It's thinking other things first, like sports, music, arts, entertainment. We have to make taking these lessons about entrepreneurship and going into the STEM sides of things, we have to make it cool for our community. We have to
Facts.
make it exciting, because we can have all these programs and everything, but if kids don't really see value in them, they're not really going to take advantage of it. And there's people who take advantage of it, but we need droves of these people to really take it so we can actually get to where we want to be. Because, we're so far behind other groups of people in terms of economic success. The Chinese, the Indians, when they come to Canada, they all have like their own like little pause. Like they'll hire like the Chinese guy who just moved in with his family. The Indian family will hire their own in that business. Then they'll teach them how to open their own convenience store. So they've dominated like a certain part of everything. Every group does this. The Back in the day, like, the Jewish people, they decided to take over banking and movies, right? So they've like owned that space for decades now. So it feels like, we are there in producing things like, sports, but the ownership side of it, as much as we're talking about it now, I'm afraid that it's going to take a while for us to really, really catch up. And it will be like probably our kids as kids who are going to really benefit from it, where blacks are seen as owners now. And, we are here to build it up, but we won't really reap the benefits of it ourselves. Like to be able to like see ourselves as a group, like, hey, us black people, we own this, and that. It's probably going to be like 50 years from now where our children's children will like be like, yeah, like, so and so entrepreneur owns this. Like you'll see the Tristan Walkers, like Tristan Walkers, for example, like Tristan Walker is an entrepreneur who owns a
Does he own it?
be- but what I'm saying is like he sold it, but the idea of a Tristan Walker as a figure, as a cultural figure, that will be the norm. We need to make that the norm. We need to make um the Morgan DeBonds the norm. We need to make the Tope Awatonas the
Hey,
norm. Like the founder.
pronunciation. Okay,
Yeah.
pronunciation.
Yo, my African blood is coming out, brother. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, bro. I see you. That was a good
You
one.
know, make the Calendlys the norm, bro.
Facts. Honestly, I
We
think
can count them on our fingers, man, but we need more.
yeah, and I think like it's a term of ownership in between the like in all aspects. Like even if you're in music, you should be able to own your masters, own the production rights of everything. Own the pub rights. So I like it's a combination of having the education to be able to own. I think is like the main thing. Yeah, bro. But, let's finish up the loan information because for the people that are dying to know.
The loan, exactly.
So, well, here's a few things that have been buzzing people's minds. Buzzing people's minds. Who talks like that? What in the world am I saying? But one of the main things that were on people's mind was the
Think about
invasion
that
of
real quick,
questions.
bro.
What's up?
Buzzing in people's minds, man. I just had to mention that. Like I pictured that. It's a buzz in people's minds. I was like, it just made me laugh. I don't know what you said there, bro, but
I have no idea what I
it
said.
was
either.
comical.
When you're talking off the tops, things just fly sometimes, man.
Exactly,
Oh,
man.
bro. All right. So one of the big things people were concerned about was the invasive questions, and they answered this in the YouTube video, and of course I'm gonna link the YouTube video down below. They were asking about people's sexuality. They're asking about like, do they identify as two-spirit, bisexual, straight, all types of things, and I was like, whoa,
Demisexual,
you know what I'm
bisexual,
saying, pansexual,
pansexual.
you know.
Bro, like when did we have all these things? Like maybe I'm just not educated on this part of sexuality, but I actually just started learning more about it recently. I'm like, man, there's so many sexualities. I always just thought it was homosexual, like homosexuality, and that was it. It's either you're straight or you're homo, right? Now there's all these other parts of, I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't know people are moving like this now. And I say this with all due respect. If you are that, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying the awareness of how there's different forms of sexuality now than there was before. So yeah, I just feel like the world is moving different, bro. Like even now, like we're the she and hers, he, him and her, him and his,
The
they,
pronouns.
them,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
pronouns, man. Like I'm just kind of like, bro, where are we going with this? Like I don't know where it became a thing now.
It's like what it is the visibility, you know. So we're just getting visibility to understand what they are going through. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really what it is, and just like understanding what they want. You know, so if they want to be called she, her, then I bet. You know, and one of my neighbors
Yeah.
growing up was is now trans, and I didn't understand it at first. You know, and she then was having a hard time in high school, and I had no idea how to like rehandle it. And looking back, I felt bad about it. I was like, damn, like I was an ignorant kid, you know. So now looking back, I'm like, damn, if I had known like what that person was going through, like I could have been so much like better of a human. So like now looking back, I'm like, man, I gotta do what I can to like actually be somewhat better to understand what people can do. Because listen, that person could have committed suicide. You know,
Yeah.
that person could have really hurt themselves. You know, and then then that could have been the end of it. You know, and that could have scarred me personally. But not even to be selfish, like it could really hurt somebody. Just the words you say. So I was like, damn. You know, put it in
Yeah,
perspective.
you gotta watch everything you say now, man. Even you can't even say guys. Like, hey guys, like, you know, at work, even if you go on Slack, like if you say hey guys, it's seen as blasphemy, bro.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Like it's you can't just say guys. Even
Yeah.
I experienced it like then. Well, I didn't really do it, but someone did it, and I just the rumblings were just like, oh, you can't, you know, like where are the pronouns,
Wow. See,
like
see
yeah, you know what I'm
that rubs
saying?
me the wrong way, you know, because it's like, listen, I want to, I want to call you by your proper pronouns. Like for instance, if it's me, and let's say two trans girls that identify as she and her, and a trans guy who identifies as him, and I'm just like, yo, what's going on, guys? Let's go to the park. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, hey, group of people, let's go to the park. That's not really like saying, hey, I think that you are guys. You know, let's.
But bro, we're living in different times now,
It's
man. You
so
you gotta be
different.
politically correct. You gotta watch
Yeah.
everything you say because it can cost you. Even on the news, like
So what do you call a group of
it's
people?
cancel culture has made it just like, hey, like you can't call people guys. You can't and guys is just an example, but the way the pronouns has really taken a life of its own and it's like the new normal now. You know how everything's a new normal? Pronouns are a new normal now, bro.
What's the proper term of group of humans? Group of
You say hey everyone.
humans. What's the proper? What are a group of humans called? It's called a flock. What? A group of humans is called a flock, a pod, a troop, a gaggle, a pack, and a
I
tribe.
have another one. A cavalry.
A cavalry.
A
What's going
cavalry.
on,
So a
cavalry?
cavalry is like a group of horses. So I used to play FIFA a lot, and like you know, like we're going on a breakaway, and Marvin Tyler's like, "Oh, here's Chelsea. Here comes the cavalry down the pitch." Right. So it's like a group of horses, just like coming down together. That's why like Cavaliers, right? Like the
Right.
Cavaliers. It's like you know the cavalry.
Yeah. But yo, let's get off this, man. Shout out to all the LGBTQIA plus people. You know what I'm saying?
The
Yeah,
BIPOC.
we mean no harm. Oh, don't talk to me about BIPOC, bruh. The BIPOCs get me mad because that is a
No,
finesse.
BIPOC cheeses me off,
BIPOC.
bro.
Yeah,
Like,
let's talk about that for a quick second. The BIPOC.
let's talk about it.
Listen,
Start it off,
all
bro.
right, so BIPOC, Black Indigenous People of Color. That is what it stands for, right? But it's an easy way to finesse out of actually giving Black people what they want, you know, or not even giving what they want, but giving what needs to be gave. So, for instance, let's say I am a CEO of a company and my name is Blake Thomas, right?
Blaker.
And I have a all white staff of my executive team. You know, let's say my executive team is 10 white people, right? I say, you know, we're gonna commit to having 25% BIPOC people, and I hire. So out of 10 people, 25%. Let's say that's about 2 people really. So I hire an Asian man, and a brown man, and I keep it pushing. and that's it. That's 25%
And they fill up the
BIPOC.
stats, bro.
And
They fill up the
stats
stats.
filled, wash his hands. I have now completed my BIPOC requirements. Peace. You know what I'm saying?
Diversity, inclusion.
Diversity and inclusion completed. So when I hear that, I'm like, this rubs me the wrong because it feels like a gray area that people can leverage to, not actually treat black people or brown people, or indigenous people, because those are the main two factors that are at the lower rung of society. Just keep it a buck. We talked about this last pod. So, there's still, especially in our corporate environment where there's so much diversity. There's still hierarchy between Asian women sometimes and brown men sometimes. So you might get passed up for a position to an Asian man because they might assume that an Asian man is better at math. So, but to them, that's BIPOC. So
it's BIPOC.
Same thing happens, right? So honestly, I feel like it's an opportunity to still marginalize black people and indigenous people even more, while maintaining the diversity quotient, or quotient, pardon me, that needs to be happening.
Yeah, I just think we need to separate it, bro. I think it's such a cop out using such a term BIPOC. And this can actually be incorporate. I think it's like, hey, we're gonna commit to hiring 10% indigenous individuals. We're gonna commit to say, hey, we're gonna let's say 20% black people, then Latinx. Actually, I think breaking it down in categories, so you're not hiding behind, the BIPOC term. I think go in there with the intention, and I think that's why even talking about when, as soon as this George Floyd thing was announced, or not announced, but when it happened,
announced,
and
that's so
announced,
crazy. Can you imagine?
Announced.
Yeah.
Hey, we're announcing this happened. A black man has been killed. All right, guys.
Right.
No, but all jokes aside, rest in power, George Floyd. But what I'm trying to say is, when that happened, black people were black people, and then the conversation shifted to BIPOC, bro. Right? Organizations could not just say black people. They had to include BIPOC, but black people were the result of this whole conversation was a result of a black man being killed. So why are people of color, who it's very ambiguous, being looped into this whole thing now? Right? Same thing with Black North Initiative. Shout out to Wes Hall. He started with black people only, but it became a BIPOC thing. So that means I'm asking the question, was there pressure to not just make it black? Because when you say black, to be honest with you, it makes people feel uncomfortable. There's a certain thing where, can we just not talk about that? We don't see color.
Facts. That's always the tone. Can we just,
that's all the tone,
talk
right?
about that?
Yeah, it's just now's not the right time to have this conversation. But you say BIPOC, eyes, ears perk up. Oh yeah, BIPOC, right? So I noticed that thing with the Black North Initiative. It started slowly shifting, and now it's a BIPOC thing. And I'm like, guys, you started this with the idea of filling more black people in corporate positions. When did it become BIPOC, where you are now giving these organizations a way just to take it easy and just hire, hey, person of color, Asian, person of color, this, racially ambiguous person of color. But when we're thinking black people, we're thinking people like you and I, black people, African descent. That is why this whole thing started, and I just feel it got hijacked by people not feeling comfortable enough to just say black people. They had to sugarcoat it with other things just to make it appease everybody. And not saying that those indigenous and people of color can't have it, but let's define what it is and not group it into one thing, because we know why, things are the way they are. Let's just separate let's have divisions and focus on one thing: black people, Latinx, whatever, and talk about Latinx, talk about indigenous people. Don't just say BIPOC and fill up other races who are not even BIPOC, be BIPOC now. And then it goes to your stats and you feel good about your higher thing, but it's still the same thing.
Yeah, man. It gets me upset. I can see you getting heated. Yeah, bro. It's real. It's real. It's definitely real. It feels like BIPOC was a reaction to all the black movements was happening. It's like we can't let this happen. We can't let all these black people get ahead. How can we stop this?
Yeah,
You
man.
know, like
Like they're winning. Like, no, we can't. Like they're getting all these resources. Like, we need to disperse it amongst everybody.
yeah,
Like once we're
yeah.
having something, it's like, hey, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on,
Wait,
hold on there,
wait.
bucko.
Hold on, hold on. They're gonna get all of
Uh,
it.
we're gonna get
All of
out. They're
it?
gonna it's
Really?
too the millions. They're bringing like no,
Yeah.
no, no,
Yup.
no, no. Let's shift the conversation. Let's include everybody. Let's all lives it. Everybody
Exactly.
matters.
Word. Word.
Now we're back in the same ass situation. Like, oh, like where's my bread? Oh, like we're focusing on other groups as well, and like da, 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 da. So I'm just like, bro, like don't pump fake us, making us feel like you're caring, but now like every group is now eating with us when this was supposed to be our time to eat when we've been starving forever.
Facts.
And now we can't even eat properly, bro.
Facts. Facts.
My
Facts.
goodness.
And call it black woman, not woman of color as well. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes,
As we
bro.
as we on this topic, you know,
Call it women, like not women of color,
call her a
like
black
black
woman.
women.
Facts.
You know?
Facts.
It's so unfair for like black women to be grinding so hard and then they get grouped into other people and then now like their statistics are being buffed up with other people to make it seem like women of color are existing. When you think of women of color, man, you think of a black woman, right? I
Yeah.
don't think about
I don't think about an Asian woman.
I don't think about Asian women. I don't think about Indian. I don't think about whatever. I
Word.
think about black people because we are the reason these things exist. Like they have their own divisions, bro. When you say Indian woman, you say Indian woman. When you say Chinese woman, Chinese woman. Black women, women of color was the genesis of everything that started with this whole thing, people getting filled up as women of color. So what are we then? If they are Chinese women, Indian women, we don't say they're yellow women, right? We don't say they're brown. Women of color was like
A
black
black
women, and they
woman.
just
Word.
hijacked it. And they can't. As soon as you start eating, they start grouping you. It's like moving the goalpost, man. Right? No, 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 no. You thought no, no, no. Women of color is this,
So let me ask you something,
man.
man. So what happened? So what if we were to find out that you got a job because you were a diversity hire? How do you feel?
I mean, and then you're walking around the office thinking you got the job of merit, but really you got it as a person man. I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised. Where I work, it's like there are barely any black people. I mean, it's getting better, but I'll be. I mean, to not think there is a diversity hire, especially in tech, I'll be like dumb not to think such a thing exists because everybody wants to do that. When I was working at Alita, the CEO was all about we need more diversity, we need more black people. He told one of the account executives, you know what, we're looking to hire more diversity here. That's why, we're looking for top black talent. So that's why it happens. So if I, as qualified as I am for the job, I can see it as a bonus that I just happen to be black and that actually adds more diversity to the workplace. So it sucks that that's the case. You know me, man. I'm a person who wants to get somewhere from merit, but not just because I'm a diversity hire. It feels like kind of like a handout. That's what I think about. It feels like a handout, bro. It feels like a handout. And that's why, like, when these companies say we're going to commit to whatever, it sounds great. But for people who've worked so hard and then they get to a Deloitte, they get to a manager position, they're like, oh, you just got whatever because you're whatever. And even this happens in ESPN as well, too. Remember with Rachel Nichols and Maria
Is it
Taylor?
Rachel Nichols? Is that what you ever said?
No, 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 no. I said Rachel Nichols,
Rachel Nichols.
Nichols,
All right,
like,
all right, all right.
So the whole situation happened with Maria Taylor is another black woman who's a broadcaster. Rachel Nichols is a white woman. She hosts the Jump on ESPN. She was told that she can't host the NBA finals in the bubble Maria Taylor was gonna do it. And as you know, when the bubble was happening, Black Lives Matter was like prevailing at this time. George Floyd had just happened. Like the whole United States of America and the world were just in like this haze of, you know what, Black Lives Matter. So they took out Rachel Nichols out of the job. Rachel Nichols had a camera in her room talking to LeBron's PR person, I believe. And she was pissed. She was saying, you know, if you really want to, like, you know, don't take away my job because you want to fill up a diversity quota. I'm not going to stand for that. So essentially she was saying the only reason Maria Taylor got the job over her is because she's black. So now you have to imagine that this is Rachel Nichols, who is a face on ESPN, who's interviewing black players, who wears Black Lives Matter with her chest. She's like all about it. But behind closed doors, she's talking about it in a way that is, hey, you know, Maria, she got that job over me because she's a black woman. And ESPN is doing that as a diversity hire. Think about that. Someone who you think is an ally is actually talking behind your back saying you only got that position for because you're black. So now think about that. Every person has seen this. You know, we know it. Whenever you make a move somewhere, it's like, oh, he only got there because, like, you know, he's a diversity guy, right? That's why he got that position, right? And these are people who you think are actually rocking for you and fighting for you. So it's a way just to disqualify your accomplishments and to disqualify your hard work, to just say you got that because they needed a diversity hire. Not because you're good, but because you're a diversity hire. And you're taking that job away from me because you just happen to be black and you got that position. I'm like, yo, you have privilege as well. You got that job because, you know, you're white. You know, you've had privilege your whole life. And now when someone else gets the job, your first thing you're blaming is because they're black and they got that job because of diversity hire, man. It's just crazy how the wheels are turning.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. Well said, man. I feel like a lot of people feel that way. You know, it's like the unspoken rule of like, man, I don't want to get something without merit. Mm-hmm. You know, in tech, there's a statement that it's either if or and. Mm-hmm. You know, an or statement is like, I want an apple or a pear. You know what I'm saying? An and statement is like, I need an apple and it needs to be red. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I feel like diversity hires, they need to be and statements and not or statements. You get what I'm saying? So like, if I'm looking for somebody, it should be, I'm looking for somebody that is an excellent hire and a diversity hire, but not an or statement where it's like I need someone that's either really good or a diversity hire. That's what I'm not about, you know, and that's what I think a lot of people assume it to be, and I don't think that it should be that. It should be an or statement, an and statement, where it's, you know, you are good and you're a diversity hire. It's between O'Shane Howard, shout out to O'Shane, an amazing photographer, let's say if it's a photography position. It's between O'Shane and, you know, Daniel Schiffer, right? And they're both amazing photographers. Daniel Schiffer is more of a videographer, but let's say it's photography, so O'Shane's better there. And they're both very talented photographers, but we're going to have an and statement, so O'Shane gets the job. He's qualified, and he's talented, and he's a diversity hire, so O'Shane gets it. And Daniel Schiffer can go make more amazing BTS epic B-roll videos. Shout out to Daniel Schiffer. You know what I'm saying?
I see you, bro. It needs to be like, man, what a great way to put it. It needs to be an and, like, hey, you're great. We want you, man. It happens to be a bonus you're black, right? Happens to be a bonus that you're a black woman, and you add more to that diversity in the culture here. But we actually want you for you. I'd rather you not just hire me. Just don't hire me if you want to just add a stat, because I'm like, do you really value what I bring to the table? Do you really value my skills and experience? It leaves a bad taste in your mouth if you just get hired for the latter, man.
Facts. Without a doubt, yeah. So that being said, yo, we really want to hear what you have to say about this. You make sure you DM us at 24/7 Hustler. And make sure you go support us, yo. Listen, we are a young black entrepreneurship company. You know what I'm saying? Go cop some merch.
Hustle over everything.
Hustleovereverything.co. And cop a hat, a mug. Get something for yourself, get something for the baby, get something for your husband, even if he cheats on you. So yeah, let's wrap up on that. If you have any questions, send your hate mail to, once again, to 24/7 Hustler on IG, or tweet us too at 24/7 Hustlers. Anything else you want to add before we get out of here, Owen?
No, I just think, think about, if you're an entrepreneur, from what we spoke about today, really think about what type of business you want to build. And if it's really built for a loan, there's other options out there. If you search, you'll find that grant. There's money out there, bro. You just have to keep knocking doors and one will open and you'll get that funding. Don't put yourself in debt when you're not ready to take on debt as a brand new entrepreneur and you don't have a business yet. Source other ways of getting money, and I'm sure you'll find something for you that's going to work the best for you and your team.
Fact. We should have a podcast on other sources of income, Kickstarters, brand deals, investments, and we just kind of dive deep. But yeah, man, without that said, that hustle is what you can control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex.
And I'm Owen.
That's Hustle Over Everything podcast, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.